All right, let me know when you're ready.
Are you going to pretty much stay in that position?
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter so much. Frame it about from here to here.
Okay, go.
No, so what were you going to tell me? Oh, but I want to talk to you. So now you got to disengage. Come, sit right here. You got good audio? I don't care.
As long as you're not moving.
I don't care. No, my problem, come sit in front of the computer so I can talk to you. Because the problem is I keep performing in front of the camera.
It's hard not to look at the focus.
I know. You got to detach. No, so here's the problem I have, Neil, is I keep not dating people that I like. The problem is almost exclusively all the boyfriends I've had have been people who liked me so much that I started to fall in love with the attention and fall in love with the fact that they liked me. And so then after a while, it was like, oh, well, okay, da, 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 and then I get into a relationship. The problem is I didn't get into a relationship with somebody that I really like, so my resentment comes real quick, and then I sabotage it and then try to get out. And that's my problem. But every single one of my boyfriends that I can think of, it's like, Brian, when I first met him, I wasn't that into him. I was kind of like, this guy's kind of crazy. But then he liked me so much, and he was really cute, and so I'm like, well, the sex is fun, and then it turned into a relationship. Matt Clower, I remember when he first came over, I needed somebody to watch Angel, and I'm like, hey, this guy is willing to feed my dog, and he likes me a lot, and we hung out. And then after a while, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I like him. Who was that? Carlos. When Carlos came over, I was getting ready to move to LA. I was not trying to have a boyfriend, but I was like, oh, this guy's cute and he's a good kisser, and we had sex and it was awesome. And then, it just kind of went on and on and on and on. Then Randy, what the hell is it? I just needed somebody to do my taxes. And all of a sudden he was just really nice, and I enjoyed hanging out with him, and then he liked me so much, and then I hung out with him more, and now everybody's like, you got a boyfriend, you got a boyfriend. If I just wish that there could be somebody that I really like, that I'm like, oh my God, this person is amazing, that I am so lucky to be with this person. And it would be amazing if I could find someone who felt the same way about me. But I think that's my problem, is I'm too afraid to go after the guys that I like because of rejection. Like, I have this whole thing with rejection, and I don't know why I'm afraid, but like even Grindr, it's like I have all these people talking to me, and then there's one guy that I thought was really hot, and so I put out on a limb, and I'm like, hey, I'm home alone this weekend, whatever. And he's like, oh, good for you. And I'm like, why am I even trying?
What are you looking for?
At this point, I just want to get laid. And I recognize why that is. I get so much validation and love from my dog and from Joe and from friends that I don't have that like needy loneliness, that it's like, I don't want to be in a relationship. I want to really be successful and focus on my career and all that. But it's like, at the same time, I feel like I'm missing out. I see all these friends that are hooking up and they're doing all these things, and I feel like, oh man, now's, 31 years old, now's my prime time. Like, I feel like if I don't do it now, by the time like when I'm ready, like, okay, I'm established, I'm ready to I might be too old. And then I would have missed out. So there's this great fear that I'm missing out. There's a great fear that I'm missing out. It's been a long time. I only read it that one time. And I read it when Matt and I were dating, so I should probably read it again. Like, there's probably a lot that. But Dan Savage says something I think is really interesting. He says that when guys are younger, they tend to go after and want to date the kind of people that will impress and make their friends jealous, as opposed to dating the people that they actually are compatible and like. And I say that is exactly my issue. Because the thing with Randy is, when him and I are hanging out and it's just the two of us, like, I have a great time. It's when we get into a social situation and people start to see that we're together, or they start to think that we're a couple, that I like get freaked out. And I'm like, don't touch me. I don't, because I have this like, people are judging me.
Right, but don't you feel like there needs to be like some kind of magic chemistry between you and somebody that you kind of like know right away? So with any of your boyfriends, was there anyone that right away your heart just crazy, or you had to like grow into all of them?
You know what? It's hard to know. Like, there was definitely this moment, like several of them. Like, I remember the very first time I saw Brian, it was like I almost saw like a little star, like twinkle in his eye. The first time David Whitney was my boyfriend, he was tying his shoe, and he was just like this kind of flower, wasn't talking to me. And I remember he looked up at me, and it was like this little ching, like I saw that. I was like, oh, that I deliberately remember. Perhaps it was just their reaction that they.
Whitney's the guy who came
from Idaho. He was my very, 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 very first boyfriend. Well, no, that's not true. There was the guy. My very, very, very first boyfriend was this guy named James, his name was Jamie. This is actually a really crazy story. I had just left Phoenix, and I was moving to Idaho, and I had done my research, and I found out that there were 5 gay bars in the entire state. And there was only one that was on my side of the state, and it was 75 miles away. So I was like, I guess I just won't be gay. And I was driving in, And as I'm driving in, I drove through this little town, Pocatello, and I'm thinking, oh, Pocatello, this is the one city that has a gay bar. And then I was like, should I go check it out? And I kind of talked myself out of it. And as I'm driving, I realized that it was Saturday night, 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, dude. So I actually made a U-turn and went back and I checked out the bar. And I literally walked in and did a tour and walked out. And I was like, it was like my second or third gay bar ever in life. Like, because I had only gone to 2 here in Phoenix. And I'd only been out to myself a few months. And I walked in and there was really nobody worth talking to. And I was walking out and several people were like, hey, who are you? And they were kind of distracting talking to me. And then they left, and as I was walking to my car, there was one guy who was sitting in the corner with his hat down that was kind of hot, and he came up to me, and he's like, hey, who are you? Where are you going? Whatever. And I don't remember what he said, but he said something like, and I followed him to his house, and we walked right in the door, and we started making out, and he was the very first guy I actually had full-on sex with.
Big boy.
Big boy sex. And I remember telling him, I'm like, look, this is my first time. I've never done this. I'm kind of freaked out. You know, because prior to him, I always told people I would never have anal sex. I'm like, no, I don't want anything to do with that. And I thought he was so cute, and he really, really, really wanted to. So I was like, you know, okay, I'll do this. And I remember he stuck it in, and it hurt. And immediately, I had to go to the bathroom. I was like, oh, shit, I got to. And I raced, and then as soon as he stopped, I ran down the hall. I was like, oh, I don't have to go to the bathroom anymore. And I realized, oh, and I got the sensations confused. We may have to edit that out. But anyway.
So what are you looking for in a man? You don't want a partner to support you in
you know what it is? In Puerto Vallarta, I was really thinking a lot about this. What do I want in a relationship? And I boil it down to 2 things. If I can find these 2 things, and I want mutual, equal, passion and respect. Because if we have passion, I think that will take care of, like, we'll be attracted to each other, the sex will be there, you know, if we're really passionate about each other. And yet, if we have mutual respect and we just really value each other, even if we disagree and feel differently on things, I think the respect of, like, you know, this person is so good that, you know, we can just agree to disagree. And, you know, I don't know, because obviously I haven't had a successful relationship yet. And then, you know the other thing, Neil? Well, I mean, not long term. The longest relationship I've ever had has been like 2 years. I've had a couple of those, but my issue is this. At this point so far, I've always been monogamous in all my relationships. I don't cheat. That's one thing, I never cheat. And the reason being is because even if they don't find out, I'd know, and I'd feel guilty, and I'd feel bad, and I just feel like I deserve more. And so I don't cheat. But I will break up with them at the drop of a hat if I want to sleep with this guy. And so I've wondered, you know, perhaps if I would get rid of that block and if I'd allow myself to be in an open relationship, I might actually be able to be in a relationship. Because that's been the biggest thing that's broken me up, is when I'm with someone. That was the thing with Matt Clower. Everything was fine, but he never wanted to have sex with me. And I'm like, dude, if you're my boyfriend and we're not having sex, what's the point? Bam. And I broke up with him so fast. And, you know.
You weren't compatible. Why do you always break up? Why does everyone in your circle know you're breaking up? And the guy that finds out
is the last one. That actually is a pattern of mine, is everybody else knows that we're breaking up, and then the last one to know is whoever I'm breaking up with. That's, you know what it is?
Isn't that hurtful?
It's not a nice thing I do, but I'm just, why do I do it? Like, I can't tell you. I can't say this is why I do it. It's just my pattern, and I'm open enough to admit it. The only thing I can think of is perhaps it's a way for me to feel it out, to feel like if it's a good idea. Like if I start to put that out and people are like, dude, you are making a big mistake. This is the greatest guy ever. You know, then I might, oh, really? But when they're like, oh yeah, totally, you should totally break up, then I'm like, oh, maybe it's the right decision.
So you're going to do a podcast thing, a webcast, what is it, a video cast?
I'm thinking about it. The thing is, everywhere I go, I'm getting over and over consistently, you need to be on camera, you need to be in front of the camera, you need to start speaking. And I can tell by people's reaction to me, you know, people are engaged. I can't even tell you exactly what it is that I do. I just know how to do it. I just watch for people, and as soon as they tune out, I'll stop. Or as soon as I notice people starting to speak, I'll speak louder and more towards the group. And quite honestly, I love it. Like the thing that I keep seeing in my head is speaking in front of millions of people, being broadcast all over the world. And the thought of that is really exciting as opposed to scary.
Little broadcast different than the billions that are on YouTube now. There's all these kids that do it every day.
It's Mike Chesworth. It's Mike Chesworth. That's what makes a difference.
On camera, I said you should speak like in front of people where they can see your emotions.
But that's what you said. But someone else said I should be in front of camera. Someone else said I should have my own TV show. Someone else said I should act. You know, everybody says something a little different, but it's all.
Speakers, I think, because then you start out speaking to 30, and then one day you'll speak to 1,000, and then you get on TV.
No, I get that. I get that.
When are you gonna write your speech, and what's your speech gonna be about?
I don't know. Like that's what the first thing I want to do, I want to do this documentary, this thing about relationships I've been talking about. I just really feel like it's time. And I want to do it from a place instead of like, hey, I've done this, here's what people need to know. I'm doing it as my journey. Like, here's the deal. I've had a lot of boyfriends. I've dated a lot. I've had sports sex and I've had loving sex. And the deal is, I don't know what I want. And this whole thing about monogamous relationships and open relationships, I don't know how I feel. Like I'm kind of right on the fence. And I just feel like there's a lot of other people who are the same way.
All relationships or gay relationships?
Pretty much gay. Like I thought at one point about opening it up. I really thought about at some point opening it up because it's universal truths. But then it's like, you know what? Speak about what you know. And you know what? I'm a gay Mormon. I have a very interesting perspective on those two things, and I know it and I own it. And those are two, especially the Prop 8. If you want to look at Prop 8, it's the gays against the Mormons. The Mormons became the official face, although it wasn't just them, they got all the blame. And that's just, and I'm right in the middle of that. And I didn't even realize how much of a war it was until this last Christmas when I went home and I had gone to a Pride event and I was talking to my sister about it, and my mom's just walking through the room making a bitchy comment. And I looked and I just kind of ignored her. And then, you know, I'm talking to my sister about this thing, and then my mom comes in and says something hateful. And then finally I turned to her and I said, you know, obviously you have some concern about this. Is there something you want to share? And she just opened up and just, and spewed hate and how we're immoral and we're disgusting and it's against nature. You know, my own mother. And, you know, I thought she was cool, and she'd met several of my boyfriends, and I'm like, what is this? And it was just all this pent-up anger and hate she had towards the gays, the same way all my gay friends had against the Mormons. And I was like, dude, I'm right in the middle of this battle. And so the deal is,
What do the gays do to turn the image around?
well, you know what? Here's the deal. I've been Mormon, and I recognize that they're good people who try their hardest, and they just want to be happy. And I've been gay, and I realize that they're not immoral trying to convert the world. Like, I've been on both sides. And you know what it is? You know, when it all comes down to love and being kind, and you know, people are going to do what they're going to do.
Why don't you be the gay Mormon speaker? Why don't you be the person? You know how many kids commit suicide because they're gay?
Yeah. What's the highest suicide rate is gay kids, and the highest is gay Mormon kids. Like that's the highest. And I'll tell you,
What are you gonna do to help?
I almost committed suicide over it. I had a really hard time. And I prayed about it. And I remember specifically the prayer, I said, you know, God, you've got to give me something, because I want to be Buddhist, but I don't believe that if I pray to the statue, my problems are going to go away. I said, but this Mormon thing is killing me and it's tearing me apart, and I need something that I can believe in. And it was at that point that I read a book and started seeing articles, and I learned about this quantum physics, the law of attraction, energy, where you focus your mind. And the deal is, it validated every single thing I was taught as a kid. You know, it all validates the principles of the Mormon church without any of the guilt or dogma.
There's a gay Mormon kid that needs to hear from you.
And maybe that's what I'm supposed to speak. And so, but the deal is, Neil, I don't know what it is I'm supposed to say. I'm just willing to say it. And that's the spot. I don't have this agenda.
How do you focus on it again?
Don't answer her. She's calling too much.
Stalking. I think there's a gay Mormon kid that could use your help.
You know, I think that there's several people, because every time I speak, it's amazing how people come back and like, wow, that's exactly what I need to hear. And the deal is, I'm just willing to do it. It's not, I don't have this agenda, people need to know this, or I need to change the world in that. All it is I'm just coming from a humble place of like, okay, if it's scary or hard, I'm willing to do it. And this may be something you don't know, and I'll share this with you. When I was a little kid in the Mormon church, I had to give a talk in church. And in the Book of Mormon, there's a story about Samuel the Lamanite. And God commanded Samuel the Lamanite to go to these people and tell them that they were wicked and call them to repentance. And he went into the crowd and told the people, you know, you're wicked, God wants you to repent. Understandably, they were really pissed at him and they ran him out of town. And then God comes back to him and says, hey, I thought I told you to tell those people to repent. And he's like, yeah, they were mean to me and they ran me out of town. And God's like, I need you to do it. So the guy goes back and he gets up on a wall. And the people start throwing rocks and bows and arrows at him and like, you know, trying to kill him. And the story is that God protected him and he was able to do his work and call the people to repentance. And I remember even as a little kid thinking, you know, I like Jesus and all, and this church is cool, but I do not want to get up on a wall. Nobody better throw an arrow at me, because I'm just not that into it. But Neil, there are certain topics, there are certain things that I feel a fire rage in me so hard that I'm like, I'd get up on a wall over this. And one of them is that I can't say it, I got a block, but it just, it went away. Like I can't even tell you what it was.
I thought you were about to cry.
No, it was just like, bam. Like sometimes I just can't say things and it's like, okay, I gotta hold that in. You know, one of them is this relationship documentary. It has kept me up at nights, you know, and it's like, what is it? What is the answer? What, you know, and I don't know. But I think actually, you know what I think it is? I think it's a journey, like a quest, like I go on it. And the other deal is, as weird as it is, I feel like I can't be in a successful relationship until after I've done it. Like I just kind of had that feeling, like I can't be dating someone while I do it, and I can't meet the person that I'm supposed to meet because there's something that I'm supposed to learn, there's some way I'm going to change in this that will make me compatible with the type of guy that I want.
What do you remember about those two old men that we interviewed? What was were they monogamous?
I don't think they were. And I remember that they went around the country drilling glory holes in bathrooms, and it was just like, oh. You know what it is, Neil? I'll tell you this. There's an evolution in our world, in the gays. Like, granted, it used to be when it was terrible and it was something that needed to be hidden and it was something like that, and it was a shameful thing. And this was the culture and this is what needed to be because that was the times. You know, and then it could be a little bit more out. Now we're at a time where we're out. We've got all our freedoms. Yes, there are a few semantics we got to clean up. Are we married? Are we going to have a ceremony? You know, yes, there are still things to fight for. Pretty much we've got our freedom. I mean, if you want to look at like the slavery times and stuff like that, yes, there are different water fountains and there's bullshit and prejudice that exists, but we're walking around free. We can hold hands in public. We can go to our employers and say, this is my boyfriend, and some of them will give us insurance for that. It is a beautiful time, and it is a time for us to celebrate and not a time to cry over what we don't have yet, because it will come. It will come, and it will come faster than we expect.
So this documentary could be a pay-per-view?
It is a pay-per-view. It's a pay-per-download. I know that.
$9.995?
I know that, yep, and that's how it gets funded. And the deal is, and here's the other thing I thought about, is there's two levels to be in. There's the 99 cents to watch it, because I just really feel good about that price point. But at this point, I'm looking for angel donors, people that are willing to donate 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks. Very small, easy amount. And what that does is it opens them up to the website. And as I go on this journey and as I interview different people, I'll edit them down to a 5 or 6 minute clip of the best of their stuff. It will help me in the editing process, but I post that online. And for those people who have sponsored, they have access to see all the raw footage and they get to actually watch the film be made. And as I do different drafts and different trailers, I'll put that up and let people do their comments. Hey, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this? And they can watch this film progress. I don't think anything's ever done like that. I just kind of have this feeling like that would be. As long as it needs to be. And that's just it, is I'll put it out.
Not 2 hours.
No, I mean, I'm thinking like 90 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever, but it might even be an episode thing, like this episode, this episode, this episode. But the thing at this point I just want to talk to is just talk about relationships, and I want to just kind of gather clips and experts. I know, here's...
There's like 12 chapters, you could have each chapter be a download for X dollars too.
Did I tell you the story of Carolyn Peterson, the one who had a husband?
Do you want this on camera?
Yeah.
I'm down with you soon, just so you know.
Okay.
I'm like,
Then let's finish talking about me. No, let's finish talking about me. Why do I feel the need to do this? Or what kind of person am I looking for? What am I looking for in a relationship? What do I want? You know what? I'm an artist. Like, I need someone who inspires me, and I need somebody who understands. Like, you know how people always talk about that they want it to be 50-50 or an even. I can't deal. I'm not a balanced person. I'm happy and I'm sad and I'm this and that. And I want somebody who recognizes that 6 months out of the year, it's all about me. It is the Mike show, and they're ready to you need this, boom, boom, boom. But that 6 months out of the year, it's not about me at all. And that I'm sitting there with their project or whatever there's important to me, and I'm just ready and waiting. What do you need? How can I help you? And you know, maybe it's not even 6 months. Maybe it's 3 months, they're about them, 3 months, and that's balanced. But I need that given, because when I'm on set, when I'm on a film, I don't have time to sit and check in and spend time with you. I need you to recognize.
Interest in that and not say, oh, I'll see you next week.
You know what I mean? And
if you're come and help you and hang out at the set.
I used to say, well, it's like when I used to say about the Matt Leinart thing, that the kind of guy I wanted was somebody who's like an NFL football player, where half the year it would be all about them, and I'd go to the games, and I'd be like the cheerleader, I'd be like the what do you call it, the team wife? Yeah, that I'd go to the game, and I'd sit with all the other wives, and we'd cheer our husbands on, woo, and I'd organize little dinner parties and stuff like that, and it would kind of revitalize, send energy to the team. but that another part of the year, it would be about me, and I'd be on set, and whoever my boyfriend at the time would come on and join us, and that even some of the homophobic people on the crew, because he's such a celebrity, would be like, oh, hey, how you doing? That guy's a good game on Sunday. I don't know. I definitely feel like I need somebody who's as bright a star as I am, because I recognize that I have a lot of energy in him.
As far as bright again, because 2 weeks ago you were...
Oh, I was dead. I was depressed. I was sad.
I'm glad you're happy again.
Just let it roll for a second, and I'll talk, and then I'll stop it.
Do you have a jump drive too? We can grab that footage right now. Then if you want, you can grab that. Do you have a jump
I have my computer. I was going to put it on my laptop.
We can give you your
Yep,
clips
that was
or
my
whatever,
plan.
or whatever.
That was my
Can you
plan.
keep talking to yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so I hope this is a nice shot. I hope I don't look really bad, but... Oh, Mike, what would I say to myself? Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I feel like it needs to be done. It keeps me up at night. It's all I can think about. I'm just so excited about it. I don't feel like it right now. I'm just depressed. Right now, I'm depressed. Right now, I'm bummed because my cousin... Wish I had the magazine somewhere. My cousin's on the cover of a magazine. Hold on. I'm going to actually show this. Hold on. Oh, it's in the car. Never mind. It's in the car. So I'll just say this real quick. But my cousin is on the cover of a magazine, and it's like I get it that if I'm jealous, if I'm discouraged, if I'm like not happy for him, that I'm pushing it away from myself. But I recognize that's how I feel. Like I'm like, hey, how come it's not happening for me? How come something isn't good for me? So I recognize I need to shift my vibration on the whole thing. I mean, I'm thrilled for him, and I would love for him to go on and be mega star. Like that would be awesome. But I want to be good too. I'm tired of not paying my rent and my car payment. Like, when is it going to be my turn? But the good, what's awesome is, I do what I love. It still feels like I play. I don't feel like I'm trapped. I don't feel like I go to work. I feel like I have so much free time. And somehow I'm able to survive. And I do pretty well. And I do better than some. So, well, that's all I get. I should probably stop this.